you think of Bollinger?
Bollinger. That's a good one.
Hey? Thought about that long and hard. I've been working on it.
Yeah, I do love a beer. I love a beer. I think that comes from my dad, but anyway. Yeah, good old Felicia.
You had some epic battles.
Yeah, we did, and I managed to come out on top probably once or twice, and that was it. But it was always runner-up, bridesmaid. Yeah, it was some good times.
Yeah.
Good years.
That make it hard. Like, I mean, there was. I think I've watched a couple, and I'll put some of the YouTube clips on the site. But like, there's times when it's like an absolute coffee.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, oh God.
You know, we had some pretty good battles. I mean, I remember at Worlds, I think it was '97 in Perth, and we're both fairly big riders. We weren't the skinniest of riders, and both of us coming in out of turn 3 into turn 4 to the finishing straight, and we were both inside that sprinter's line. So you can imagine two big, solid chicks in this little lane. So I'll never forget that. We were just side and side, elbows locked. It was awesome. But we had some great races, and she was tough to beat. But,
Did she speak much English?
Very little.
Yeah.
But I think she actually spoke a lot of English, but she chose not to.
Yeah.
It's funny, I remember every time I saw her, she was eating a chocolate bar. And I thought...
Charlie wouldn't have allowed that.
Charlie would never have allowed that. But I'm thinking, I just don't eat any chocolate, and she's eating chocolate, maybe that'll make me a little bit better. But, it's probably taken my 15 years of retirement or more now to sort of work out where I went wrong, I think, and I can now admit that I probably wasn't quite right there mentally.
Yep.
Backed myself. I knew how to beat her. I just never put myself in the position at the right time. I don't know, confidence-wise, or I'm not sure, but hindsight's a great thing. It's good to be able to sit back and I had done this and I had done that, and she always led from the front. If you watch any of her races, she led from the front. If you could be in front of her and lead from the front, she would never come around. And when I beat her in Italy at a World Cup in Fiorenzola, I think it was, I managed to be at the front. And it was a big open 400-metre track, and she couldn't come around. So, just being able to have the confidence to take control, knowing that you're up against the world title, world champion, 10 times world champion. She still holds that just barely. But you know what? I had a great career. I loved it.
Amazing. You've got to put it into perspective. And I was talking about with some people the other day. It's like, people talk about Jan Ulrich and Lance Armstrong and poor old Jan Ulrich. But there's 160, 180 riders in the Tour de France every year, and on those teams there's probably 400 or 500 people going for that one race. Your event was like 30 or 40 people coming down to the last two every. It was just and it wasn't 1 minute, 2 minute, 10 minute, 5 minute. 9 times out of 10 it was how thick was your tyre.
I mean, most of our races were anywhere from 11.2 seconds to 11.8 seconds, and that's in the actual races. That's not in the qualification. So a little bit quicker now, and it's technology and training, I'm sure, and would have loved to been able to go as fast as I go now. But it was a time, and getting old now. But it's nice to look back and I think sometimes I think I wish I'd done things a little bit differently. But then I guess because I am getting older now, I look back at the opportunities and the travels and the friends I've made and the experiences, and I wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change a thing. It would be nice to have a gold medal instead of silver, 2 of them. But still wouldn't change a thing. It was really, really good time in my life.
Amazing. When you're doing your coaching and stuff now, so how did that come about? Is that just something that you always wanted to do? Or?
You know what? I tried my hand at proper coaching, I would say. For on the track, and I coached a few women and masters winners predominantly. They went to a few world titles and things like that. But I think I'm a better athlete than I'm a coach, especially at that higher end. So for me, coaching now is to actually help new women into cycling. And it's not so much coaching them to be athletes, but coaching them to be confident riders. And with Liv-Giant, first Saturday every month, we take a group out. It's based on beginners. We teach them how to clip into their pedals, clip out, basic stop-start, much safety, road rules, that sort of stuff. And, you know, because a lot of people, they go straight into coaching and they want to coach elite Olympic athletes, you know, and they forget that people don't know how to ride a bike. Well, they don't know the simple things of road rules and simple thing about having fun riding a bike. So for me, I get a lot of enjoyment now in getting people to have fun riding a bike.
And you grew up in the Gong, right?
Warrnambool, actually.
Warnie?
Yeah,
Right.
Warnie. Yeah.
And how did you start riding a bike?
You know what? It's a funny story. I hated school. Hated it. Except for PE. PE was fun. And then we went to a Catholic school run by the nuns. There was the girls' school here and the boys' school across the road by the brothers, the nuns. Fun times. That's another story. But yeah, we had one of the hospitals was right next door to the school, and they were involved in a charity ride called the Murray Samoy. Now that's still goes on. I actually think it's on this weekend or next weekend.
Let's hope it's next weekend.
Yeah, but it was in memory of Graham Woodruff, who was a long distance cyclist from our area, from Port Fairy, and you know, he was tragically killed at a training ride. And then his family created this charity. You know, he liked to do distance rides. He rode from Perth to Melbourne and you know, all these record-breaking rides. And they thought that they'd, you know, start a bit of a legacy for him and for his memory. And yeah, each year the local hospitals get together and they create teams and you raise money and it all goes to that local hospital or charity that you choose. And they came across to the school looking for extra riders for the team. And I said, what's involved? And they went, well, we're going to leave Thursday night. And I went, I'm in. Friday I won't have to go to school. Yeah, it was a minute day of school and I get to, you know, go and ride. I'd never really ridden before. I was really into athletics, little athletics and cross country and things like that. And yeah, so an opportunity to have a day of school got me into riding, started a bit of training, you know, because they told us what to do, borrowed a bike. And a couple of the other guys in the team were professionals at the time, did the Melbourne to Warrnambool, and I managed to keep up with them. And they said, you probably should come and join a local club in Warrnambool and, you know, see how you go. And that's how it all started.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the Australian team, like your area would have been the Charlie Walsh.
Yeah.
Did you read the article that McGrory did a couple of weeks ago, and then I think Woodsy replied?
Yeah. I could. That could be a whole different chapter. Look, without having to bring up too much stuff, I think that everything that Scott wrote, and off Billy Joe's article as well, is completely true.
Yeah.
From what I saw in my time, and also the way that he treated women as well. It certainly wasn't. Women certainly didn't belong in cycling. That was his view. And there's a lot of people that will back me up on that. Lots of stories I could say. You know, there was a time just before the 96 Olympics, we were training in Bootkin. Now, Bootkin has its own, at the track, there's its own accommodation. So you just stay there, straight to the track, train. Now, that was all well and good for the boys, but Lucy Sharman, or whatever her name was at the time, her and I were put 20 k's away in a little town, in a little motel, away from the boys. We had to ride to and from the track each day, which was 20 k's there, 20 k's back, with a backpack on our backs, rain, hail or shine, and that's how we were treated. And then we had to still get there and start our day of training. That wasn't incorporated into our training, but we weren't allowed near the boys, and we weren't allowed this, and we weren't allowed that. But, you know, 96 was good for me, so, you know, maybe it was a good thing, I don't know. But, yeah, there's certainly someone that I don't particularly, it doesn't bother me that I don't see him anymore. And if it wasn't for Gary West, my personal coach at the time, I think I would have been a broken person like a lot of people. Yeah.
It's also documented that, you know, in '96, like I found it quite funny when I read it, but like the first ever gay Australian athlete, openly gay Australian athlete.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I was sort of like, I'm pretty sure there was a few more before that. But was that even a factor back in those days or not?
Look, I don't think I ever stood in front of a camera and said, hey, yep, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian. It never, no one actually ever come and asked me.
Yeah.
There was no media person ever asked me, and to me, it was kind of a new thing for me at the time. It's kind of, here I am, 18, going to my first Olympics, going for experience, and I'd recently kind of only just, I guess, admitted to myself that was my sexuality, what my sexuality was, and it wasn't a big deal. To me, I was worried about racing and things like that, but no one ever asked me. No one ever said, does your boyfriend think this is great? Or, it never came up. So, and for me, performing as an athlete was way more important than my sexuality. Like, who cares? What does it mean? I don't feel I need to write a book about it. It's probably not that exciting.
Yeah.
But that's it's cool. I'm part of the Federation of Gay Games and one of their ambassadors, and it's pretty cool to be on the same list as Elton John and Melissa Etheridge, and some pretty other cool people that have been influential along the way for in that way. But it's not a big thing to me. I've never hidden the fact. I've never stood back from it.
I think that's why it's funny. People that you talk to, they go, "Oh, really?" It's like, well, it's not really. It doesn't really matter. But and then just last week when I was talking to a few people, that's what I was going to do. It's like, I googled her. Did you know that she was like? And like, yeah, I did. And you sort of sit there and go, I wonder if that ever, from '96 to right through, did that ever come up? And by the sounds of it, it never really did. But you were so focused and so.
It never did, though. That's the thing. I guess in the back of my mind, I always had something ready that if it was asked, what I would say. But no one ever asked. They were all, back then it was about your sport. Like, how do you feel about your race? Were you happy? How's your preparation been? What's your next move? What's your next race? Things like that. It was not about your sexuality. It's no big deal. You know what? I remember living at the AIS in Adelaide at Henley Beach, and at the time, and so I think it's about time to tell the boys in the team, Brad McGee and Kirsten boys and all these guys. So I better tell them before someone else says something, maybe someone sees something, and they were like, yeah. So, who cares? And I was like, these are my teammates, these who I spend all my time with, these who I live with. They don't care. So I don't care. So why should anyone else care?
Yeah.
So clearly not the only one, especially during my era. It's tough to say era because I'm really old. But during my time, there was a few lesbians on the scene from all over the world and things like that. It was not really a big deal. You know what? The Commonwealth Games podium in Kuala Lumpur, 1, 2, 3, all lesbians. Yeah. So to me it was never any big deal, and a lot of those people are really close friends still, and it made it. I guess it was all just about having fun. We enjoyed it. We had fun. We raced. We were friends. We went and had a drink together. Too many drinks at times, Too many donuts and races and chocolates and things like that. But it was a really good time, and I guess I'm kind of glad that I was in that era, because I probably couldn't handle the seriousness of it all now. I mean, we still trained hard. We trained hard, but we also made sure we had our let-down times. And, it was good. Good times.
Like '96, that's the Eastern Bloc sort of era. There's some big boys.
Yep.
Big girls going around too.
Remember the two Russian sisters? They were great. They were awesome. They were, it was good times. But there was a lot of that, we turned up at '96 Olympics and kind of a bit worried about the Chinese riders, and, then there's a report or a release put out saying such and such won't be racing because they've been done for drugs. So, But, apart from those one or two little things, it was not something that you really heard or saw. You thought it sometimes, but,
What are your thoughts these days with all the Lance, bloody more documentaries and Stewie coming out and saying yes and writing the book?
I don't know, it's hard to comment about other people's choices. It's they made a decision and they've now made another decision to tell everyone about it, and that's something they're going to have to live with. Being Stewie's teammate was something that I would never have thought that he would be capable of, but I've never been put in a situation with him as well. Still got a lot of respect for Stewie as a rider, as a person, as a father, you know. I think that, you know, I hope he gets through everything okay, but it's not for me to comment about things that I know nothing about. A lot of people should really, he's an absolute legend of that sport, no matter what that's, you know, come out of this. And you know, I think a lot of people should shut up, not talk about things they don't know about. Not condoning what he did, but a lot of people don't know the effort and the pressures that are put on in those situations. You make a decision based on wanting to do some amazing things, and it was wrong or right. You know, he's got to live with that.
You look at those times, you know, that sort of era when all the Aussie boys at the Tour de France and stuff, like, my God, you know, like how much of the peloton and how much pressure would have been on just to keep their jobs.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
Like,
it's a big job for them. It's a lot of money. It's their livelihood. So I suppose it's the same as if you go out and drink too much and make a stupid mistake and make it, you know, it's a situation or a, you know, circumstance you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life.
So now you're managing the shop up the road here, enjoying that?
Yeah, it's something different. I spent the last, been at Chain Reaction for probably nearly 2 years now, trying to, you know, run a retail store. It's quite a completely different experience. And before that, I was at Shimano for 6 or 7 years, which I really enjoyed. Learning a whole different side to, you know, retail, wholesale, things like that. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future, where I'm going to be at, but just doing what I can now and having fun and enjoying being back into the sport. You know, there was a time where I hated it, and it's nice to love it again.
How long did that last?
Yeah, it lasted about 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It was not long after I retired. Moved to Sydney. You know, got involved in the scene probably a little too much alcohol here and there. I think we all go through it. Massive period of depression, like everyone. Probably wasn't looked after so well in terms of coming out of the system, the AIS system. Kind of once I decided to move on, never heard from him again. Still haven't heard from him. Not even are you going okay? Do you need a hand to adjusting to normal life again? But you know,
you went in pretty young, right? Like at 17, 18?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But just trying to spend so many years in a system that tells you when to get up, when to eat, when to sleep, when to train, when to eat, when to breathe, you know, and then you've done that for 12, 13 years, and then I retired fairly young at 23 or something like that, and, you know, going out into the world and living in a house and doing your own things, and it's kind of like, you know, no one's telling me what to do or how to do it or when to do it, so, you know, just adjusting to life was pretty crazy, to be honest. And I guess I'm one of there's a lot of people that have come out of the other end okay, and, you know, we've lost some people along the way through depression and suicide and things like that, a lot more than it's probably known, really. But got through it, family, friends, you know, got through the other side, and now I'm pretty good. Life's good.
You're back on the bike?
Yeah.
Jump on the mountain bike, go night riding.
You know what?
Getting dirty at the night time, bloody hell.
I started, you know, a couple of years back I started running because I put on a bit of weight, you know, as you do, not doing any exercise, and I thought, running's probably the best way to do it. I wasn't riding at the time. And I got into a little triathlon group, and I was like, I'm just going to run. I'm not swimming, I'm not riding, and the next minute I'm swimming, and the next minute I'm riding, and the next minute I'm doing triathlons, next minute I'm doing an Ironman. And so last June I did Ironman Cairns, and it was amazing, but it has destroyed me mentally and physically since. What are we now? April, and I still haven't really got back to the training. I'm just doing a little bit here and there. It's a tough gig, Ironman. It's very tough. So, yeah.
What time did you do it?
I think it was 13:20.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to finish. I'm wrapped it was in the 13s. It wasn't in the 17s, but, you know, good for anyone who actually just finishes an Ironman. It's an epic day. This little old sprinter's body it's taken a long time to recover.
That's a lot of little sprints.
It's a lot of little sprints. But just, you know, slowly getting back into riding and enjoying the Liv-Giant thing and doing a bit of mountain biking, which is fun.
Yeah.
Which is good, getting down and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing some night rides, which is awesome fun. That's completely out of your comfort zone. Riding through the national park with just a light and pitch black. But it's great.
That's cool.
Spending some time with the guys from work and getting to different forms of riding. It's good to enjoy it and be back. Yeah, smiling about riding a bike.
Yeah. And you're a mum?
I am a mum. Yeah, it's little Paige. She's 4 now. She's a lot of time.
Are you going to get Paige on a bike?
You know what? I've been trying for years, but she's just not interested. She prefer to be a princess and wear little fairy dresses and things like that. So she's got the bike, she's got the helmet, but yeah, I'm pretty devastated. But maybe one day she'll do it. Yeah. If she doesn't, then no big deal. I'll just cry. So yeah. No, she's great. She's amazing.
Excellent. Well, that was brilliant. Thank you.
No worries.
For sharing a little bit of Michelle Ferris.